I think I always made the comment that once a miller, always a miller.
Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! Good Evans, he's done it again. Another promotion for the big man.
I've got 12 bottles of champagne in my office and we're going to drink them all night.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello. Oh, this is the Rotherham United podcast. Thank you all for being with us. We had a brief moment of we might actually win. Didn't happen. We'll talk about that and the game itself. Mick, how are we?
I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. I'm not sure that your Wi-Fi is that good, if I'm perfectly honest, but I'm a lot better than that.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi's not having it. We will soldier on as best we can. Tom's back. How are you doing, Tom?
All good. Very good. Very good. Very tired.
Okay. We're all very tired today.
Yeah.
But yes, we will see what we can get through on today's show in terms of the draw itself. Not a classic, but we'll see what we can find. Tom, you were there. You had a podcast meetup with Joy. How was your day overall before we talk about the game?
Yeah, good. It was good seeing friends and family I haven't seen for a while to watch the game, and I was. I think a lot of people thought it was quite a dreary performance, but for once I was quite enthused by it. I thought that was the best that we've looked. Certainly away. Okay, let me take it back. That was the best that we've looked away all season, and I think that we are moving in the right direction. As much as Evans might like to hyperbole a lot of what happens. I think we are moving in the right direction. So I agree with him on that front. I thought some of the football was excellent at times. I thought it was a really close contest that we edged because they weren't dreadful. But if that's the sort of playoff top two caliber that we need to reach, we're there. And it would just luck and two brilliant strikes separated it, which was, what's what happens on the day, right? So you can't do much about it.
No, exactly. We have Martin Holland, so it's good evening. 1 point better than none, absolutely. Evening, everybody. Nearly, but surely we're not far away from that elusive away win. We hope to be the case soon. Good evening, says YouTube. And Hensby also is. He says bonjour. Matt Miller says 2 wonderful goals, soaks in quality. The rest of the match I thought was aimless and largely forgettable. It wasn't a classic. We're not going to sit here and say it was a good game. But I do agree with Tom that there was parts of that game where I was like, right, I get this. I understand what we're trying to do. We were positive in our actions, in our play. We'll talk about the goals in a minute, but I'm kind of happy with that performance, as much as it was ugly.
Yeah. I don't know whether you're still talking or not because your Wi-Fi is woeful. But yeah, I mean, as a spectacle, it wasn't. The game wasn't a spectacle, was it? Let's be fair. The first, I don't know, minute and a half, 2 minutes, the ball never touched the floor. It wasn't great. In terms of the overall performance, I'm going to be positive. I'll be as positive as I can because it's significantly better than what we saw at Exeter. It's significantly better than what we saw against Bristol Rovers, in my view. It wasn't as good as the performance against Huddersfield, but it was. Like you said, you can start to see the hatchings of a plan or some sort of idea as to how he's looking to play. There were brief periods of the game, probably 5 or 10 minutes in the first half, and maybe the same again in the second half, where we were in charge. We did start to play the ball about a little bit. We weren't just constantly going long. So it's a definite improvement. There's no doubt about it. It's definite improvement, but there's still a long way to go. And I think we all know that. We all accept that. I thought Charlton were pretty dreadful, and they looked arguably like the worst team we played so far this season. In patches, certainly.
Yeah.
You know, they look very much like we've looked. Like there was no plan, no sort of. We have looked up until the last couple of games that there's no sort of plan, no direction, no organisation or anything. It all looked very just poor quality-wise overall, but so much better than the other away games that we've had this season at Wickham and at Exeter. So it's baby steps, isn't it? And it's a point away from home. So I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining because it's progress. It's just progress from a very low bar, in my view.
I kind of see what you mean about Charlton not playing particularly well in parts, but I still thought they offered a bit more control over the game than other teams that we've played this season have done. I mean, Connor Coventry in the middle of midfield, I don't know if anyone else, but I'd take him back. I thought he was excellent. I thought he controlled the game really well. Nothing quite on Liam Kelly. I thought he was, easily man of the match, Liam Kelly. But I'd say for them to be one of the worst teams we've come up against this season is a bit harsh. I thought they've got quality. They just didn't really show it. They played more of the goofball than we did. Their number 9 won quite a bit in the air, and it came down to sort of not really, they didn't really have a finishing touch or a final third pass, which we've been lacking recently. But I completely agree. I expected a lot more from them than what we got. I expected a bit more of a Nathan Jones side that was a bit, a bit more up for it, especially after the loss and the sort of press game that he'd given. It was, it was a bit, I expected more essentially. But to say that they were the worst team we played, I'd say that's a tad harsh. But I understand what you're trying to say.
Well, I mean, you said that. Maybe harsh as it might be, but I thought Exeter were better. Exeter showed a lot more quality than Charlton did for the bulk of the game that when we played them away, and I thought that Wickham did as well. I thought Wickham looked far more dangerous than Charlton did.
Yeah,
I just the game lacked quality. It lacked quality. From start to finish, in my view, there were obviously flashes. There were obviously periods where both teams sort of got on top and sort of started to play the ball about a little bit and played some football. But in general, it wasn't a great game to watch. But it's not important. That's not important. What's important is, like we've said many times so far this season, that we get some sort of progression from game to game. And we set the bar very low, in my view. And we talked about it many times on this podcast. We set the bar low right at the beginning of the season, but it is a progression, and we've gained a point out of it. So it swings and roundabouts. I'm trying not to be too negative. I don't want to be negative. I want to be positive.
I think it's positive.
But when you take extracts from that game yesterday, it can be quite difficult to be positive, I think.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I'm here. How's my Wi-Fi, guys? I'm on 2 computers, and this really confused me. I see a mistake incoming, but we haven't had one yet. So
it seems all good on this end.
I think the issue is the computer rather than the Wi-Fi. But anyway, there we go. There we are. Mention. Well, I had a comment there. We're going to go through it, but it's gone. I'm back. Matt Dominico says, Matt, I'm gone. I'm back. John Morell says, Phil, I was talking about Birmingham, don't look like Real Madrid, but if you take off your Rotherham glasses, that game on the weekend was two truly awful sides. Zero quality, and the game did not deserve either goal. John messages during the game, to be fair, and said the kind of the same thing. It's not going to be pretty, is it, this season? We said this from day one, to be fair. It's not going to be pretty. And that's fine. Does it have to be pretty? Is it fine? If we won yesterday 1-0, we'd be buzzing, wouldn't we? To be real.
I've spent 2 seasons moaning and groaning about people playing pretty boy football out from back, haven't I? So here we are, not playing anything like, completely the opposite. We're playing big fat bald lad from Rotherham football, aren't we? As opposed to so yeah, Yeah. Yeah, we can complain all we want. We got a point away from home, and it was an improved performance. And we saw 2 fantastic goals scored. So you know,
here it is. Shelley says, "Does anybody know the record with an out-of-away win?" I think, and I haven't been able to verify this. I think Crewe hold the record, but it's very sketchy. It's a very specific record that's quite difficult to find. Really, you can find a Premier League record quite easily, but that's not really relevant to establish. So, if anybody does know the record or know how to get the record, let us know because we're getting there.
we can't be far off.
No, Shrewsbury is always the next one. I think that's 690 days over the Shrewsbury game. I think we'll just do that near the time. Let's talk about the 2 moments of one moment. Anyway, let's talk about our goal first. Tom, Liam Kelly. We said at the start of the season that we thought there might be a bit of the Barlassers about him. And that goal was very Barlasser for me. He still saw a bit of space opened up. He saw the opportunity and he just trusted his technique. And we've all dreamed of hitting balls as sweet as that, to be honest with you, when we were kids and playing football. It was just as sweet as a nut. Yeah.
Oh, God. He struck that like he meant it, didn't he? And from the celebrations afterwards, it showed it meant a lot. He doesn't score many, it shows, I think. But yeah, I mean, he was fantastic all game. Without that goal, he was man of the match for me by far. Him and James were exceptional and really showed a bit of class when, like we've mentioned, the game got a bit away and started to get a bit non-technical, for want of a better word. Them 2 showed real class, and he is just a fantastic player. Before the game, he was G'ing everyone up. During the game, he was barking orders around. On the ball, he was fantastic. Off the ball, he was everywhere. For a 32, 33-year-old, I mean, if he was the right side of 30, he'd be a top-end championship club. And that, he's truly that good. I really like him, and if he can stay fit all season, I think we've got a more natural replacement for him in Teehee. If and when he's back fit, just a bit more of the same player. I don't think we have a similar player other than him in the squad. But if we can keep him fit all season, we'll, that screening of the defense is great. And it wasn't just his attacking contribution; it was his defensive contribution. I mean, he made that tackle in the second half after he scored, which was just
incredible tackle.
Yeah, he saved a certain goal. But yeah, like you say, the technique behind his first goal was that of Barlasser's, wasn't it? Foot over the ball, knee over the ball, whatever it is, body forward, and just smashed it as hard as he could. I actually thought that the chance had gone when Clark Harris tackled and then waited too long with James on the overlap. I thought the chance had gone. So credit to him for making the right option, I guess. But yeah, no, it was poor defending from them. I mean, to have that much time and space on the edge of the box, no matter who the player is, you're begging for them to shoot. And Nathan Jones said in his post-match that they only concede 30-yard screamers. Well, if you're going to defend like they did, then you're going to concede a lot of 30-yard shots, and most of them are bound to go in. Wilkes had a decent effort in the first half when it went straight at the keeper. Could and should have done better. In the second half, he had a wild attempt that, again, could and probably should have done better. So for them to stand off that much, I think we didn't, we needed to shoot more from range. And luckily we've got someone with the technique to actually score because, but yeah, no, he was excellent. And the fact he's not captain makes me think he is captain in a weird way. I think he's very much the sort of guy that Evans will lean on in the dressing room, probably tactically as much as it is G'ing players up. He just knows where everyone should be. He knows how to G everyone up. He was just, If we keep him fit, he'll be our player of the season. I know I said, I can't remember who it was. I said Nombe maybe, but I think I said Nombe. But if he keeps fit and keeps this consistent form, he'll be our player of the season because he's so influential in games, both going forward and in both boxes, I should say. And that shot's been coming as well. Against Huddersfield, he had that one on the edge of the box. If he keeps doing them, he'll have 6 or 7 like them this season because he's got the technique behind him. Give him time and space, and he'll get him.
Yeah, agree. Completely agree. It's interesting. Also, he's done 2 of the post-match interviews as well. Did Saturday's. Say again, sorry.
What was his other one? He did this
I
Saturday.
can't. Yeah, he did this one. I can't remember when the other one was, but he's definitely done it. Cause I remember seeing him because he was wearing the suit. He actually looked like the manager on Saturday.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you guys like that, wearing the suits before and after the game? I think it's.
I don't mind it, but if the players are doing it, Evans should be doing it really.
Yes.
And he's kind of sat on touchline in his tracksuit. If you're going to be a tracksuit manager, again, I don't mind or care what my manager wears. But if you're going to make the players do that, or maybe it's a player decision. Maybe it's not Evans. Maybe the players have decided. I don't know, but I'd like to see the manager fall in line with the rest of the team, to be honest with you. But
yeah, I see it.
Still waiting for enough material to finish it off.
God, Jesus.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm sorry that we're out of. I said that out loud, didn't I?
I came out there. Use your outside voice on that one.
Christ.
Sorry. I mean, it's poor defending from Charlton. Tom's right. If you're going to give, especially at this level, we're not talking non-league level, not Sunday league level. If you're going to give players of this quality 10 yards space, which is literally what it was, you're going to concede those goals all the time. But then is that to try and put a positive spin on it from our point of view? Is the way that we've played pushed them back so that their midfielders are too deep because we're going some kind of more direct? That's a byproduct of our how we play that's created the space. We created it, or have they given it us?
Good question. And the bottom line is that they should never have given it us, whether we created some or not. But you cannot let a player run that sort of distance towards goal, because there's only one thing going to happen. He's going to absolutely have a pop, and that's what it did. The ball seemed to be going faster and faster the closer to net it got. It was still picking up speed when it hit back at net. It was a wonderful strike, a great strike. So, and like Mike said earlier on, and I think we had the conversation with John during the game yesterday, the game really did not deserve a goal like that, and it didn't. No. Whatever you want to say, but it got it, and it was great to see, and good to see that they were well sort of well up for it, the players. So there's obviously a lot of passion there, a lot of desire, which I don't think has ever really been in question, to be honest with you. But
no.
It was good, and at that point you're thinking, can we go on now and hold on? As it turned out, I think we all probably deep down in our hearts knew what the answer of that was going to be, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, sadly. So it's nice to see them kind of shots going. We've not had too much luck lately, that's true. Did you know that we're on our longest unbeaten run since the 1st of January, by the way? 2 games. 2 whole games.
Oh, my God.
I'm not at all surprised.
Yeah. There'll be hopefully a lot of stats like that falling down over the next couple of months, where we say, the longest run since 6 months ago, whatever it is, or 2 years. Sorry. Let's move on to their goal, Tom. This may well divide opinion. I don't know, but the keeper's got a hand to that. The keeper's got a big hand to that.
Yeah.
If you're going to get that big of a hand on it, you've got to keep that out.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I mean, in real time, I mean, the big hand is a big hand. It's not just like he's sort of pushed it back. It felt like when watching it. And let's be honest, I know Victor wasn't the tallest keeper, but Phillips absolutely isn't. He looks tiny in that net. And there was a lot of high balls, and we've said it week in, week out that he doesn't dominate that 6-yard box, and he's very, Dawson at 6'3" or whatever it is, an extra 2-3 inches on him, probably gets that quite easily. And that's not to do with goalkeeper ability, that's to do with height. And don't get me wrong, it was a bad, it was an unfortunate event in McCart actually tackling well and clearing it well, ricocheting off Kelly and not going out for a corner, going straight back to the player, who then we didn't close down on the edge of the box. And I mean, I want to defend him. I do, because I think you could say he was unlucky with it, but in my opinion, he's just. I think if he didn't make it, fair enough. There was no way of him getting there. The fact he's got there and got a big hand on it, it makes the goal look better than it is. I think that goal is very. It's not hit with much power. It's just precision, and as soon as he gets it there, I think he's got to save it. I mean, like I said, there was a lot of chances in the 6-yard box where you would have felt like a more dominant, confident keeper would have come out and claimed a lot of what he didn't. I mean, the chance against Huddersfield, there's a couple of other I mean, the Wickham game. There's a couple of times this season where I've thought Phillips he looks like a number 2 in net, and I think that's what he is. I think he's a number 2 that's being given a chance, and who knows if Dawson would have done better with any of the chances, right? But that one game against Exeter has given Phillips a 5-6 game run, and he's not proven anything to me personally that he's actually done anything to keep his place. Fair enough, that Exeter game he kept us in it with 2 or 3 really, really good saves, but after that it's I mean, they both don't fill me with confidence, don't get me wrong. Dawson's got his limitations for sure, but I think he looks a bit more steady, a bit more consistent, a bit more. He looks like he's more authoritative. For me, Phillips makes a mistake, i.e., the Huddersfield game, or that chance in the first half when I can't remember their number 9, but he blazed it over the bar when he really should have scored. Again, I think Phillips should have come out and claimed that. Maybe it's tough on me to say not as a keeper, but if you're a dominant keeper, McCart's headed that basically on the goal line away. His positioning's not great. His height doesn't help him out. And for those 2 things as a keeper, you've got to I don't know. You just look like a number 2 to me, honestly. And I hate not liking a player. He's not done anything awful. He's not had a lot to do in the last couple of games, in all honesty. Huddersfield, he had not much to do. Charlton, he didn't have much to do, but the things he does have to do, he's not doing them. He's not doing them with confidence. And if you're not getting confidence from games where you're not doing anything, I don't know when you are. So I'd make the change and see what Dawson's got. Because Dawson's, like I said, reliable. I think he's a reliable keeper. This isn't just. I mean, this is all said with a pinch of salt, right? Because we've been absolutely spoilt for keepers for the past 5. So Victor and Vickers were both. You couldn't fault them really. Maybe distribution for both, but for both it was a case of these are the best that you're going to get in League One, if not Championship with Victor. So yeah, it's tough, right? This might be what every other keeper's doing in the league, and we're just finally succumbed to that level. But I'd give Dawson a run out. I think Phillips has had his chance with 5 or 6 games, and he's done nothing to impress me, and he doesn't fill me with any kind of confidence. So if Evans trusts him, I don't know what he sees in him, really, honestly.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Let's look at the comments because it's. Well, yeah, Tonke says he did well to get there, but once he did, his hands, he's got to be a bit stronger, kind of went through his hands. Noel Duggan says he'd like to see Dawson in. Josh Castle says, I hate to see it, but I don't understand what Evans sees in him. Rob A saying Phillips isn't good enough. Well, he would play Dawson every week. Paula Rose says Phillips makes me nervous. She prefer Dawson as well. Tom K not convinced by Phillips. He looks too nervous.
Yeah,
Phillips didn't actually go in the top corner. And that's the thing, mate. When it happened, you sort of sitting there going, "Wow, that's a great goal. That is such a good finish." And then you watch the replay, and it kind of go, "Oh no," because it's difficult because John's mentioned Victor. I'm trying not to look at this with Victor glasses on because we can't do that. It'd be silly of us to compare Victor and Phillips because there is no comparison. So I went to a couple. I've got a couple of friends who are Wednesday fans and Leeds fans. Messaged them to get their opinion, see if I was being biased, and they'd come back the same thing. If you got your hand to it, you're there. You've got to do better than that. And it's avoidable. It's an avoidable goal, and it's a huge goal to concede, because if we go on and win that game and get that win at Charlton, that's a huge win because of everything that's happened.
Yeah,
It's a big moment. It's a really, really big moment, and I'm not going to say he's let us down, but he's made a mistake.
Yes, and he'll know that. He'll know that he's got there. He's got to do better. He'll know that he's got to do better. So yeah, well, we've got to keep going. I don't have much confidence in either of them, to be honest with you. I don't see the bits that I've seen of Dawson doesn't. I wouldn't know which one to choose between the pair of them, frankly. So you know, it's down to the manager to see who he thinks is going to be the best one on the day, and if he thinks it's Phillips, and so be it. To be fair, arguably the ball shouldn't have got to him. It was a bit of a mess, really. As Tom alluded to earlier on with the clearance, it should have gone and it didn't. It ricocheted off a player into their path. So we were unlucky. You could argue unlucky to get their player in that position, but once Jonathan Phillips has got there, he's got to put it over the top or around the back, around the side. Sorry, you know, but he'll know, won't he? You know, he'll be hurting himself as a goalkeeper. You know as a goalkeeper that if you've got a hand to it, then you should be saving it. Unless it's, you know, a Clark Harris thunderbolt or a Kelly thunderbolt, you know. If you're getting onto it, you've got to save it. So, yeah, one of those things. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
I'll give him a bit of, you know, devil's advocate in that if he does save that and tip it round the post or tip it over the bar, are you then going, that's a great save?
Yeah,
possibly,
I think
Initially, yeah. It's one of those that initially you sort of, wow, it's great, but then step back, look at it, like we've done with the goal. You know, we were initially saying it's a great goal, and you've got to take a step back and kind of analyse it, and you go, well, if you get there, you save it. It's one of those things for a keeper, though, isn't it? It's so one or the other. There's not much middle ground for goalkeepers, is there? Really.
Yeah. My concern with Dawson is, I think, is in the sort of those dangerous areas, you know, where he's having to come out and get down at people's feet and put his head in places where you wouldn't ordinarily want to put your head unless you're a goalkeeper kind of situations. I suspect that Dawson, again, I've got nothing to back this up other than the bits I've seen for him playing when he's played for us, but just seems to be a bit more reluctant to get his head where it hurts or hands where it hurts. We'll see.
Yeah. John Morrell said only minor defence for the keeper is that he was hit with pace. However, if the keeper gets to it, he has to save it.
Yeah.
Steve said he thought it was going to be a save for the cameras when he hit it. Yeah. Joshua Cashwell personally disagrees with you. Mick Dawson seems assertive and a good shot stopper, whereas Phillips, it doesn't seem Phillips is good at either. Tom Kidd's right. Dawson does have howls in. It's the League One keepers. They've got to have mistakes in them.
Yeah.
We've got to accept that. We as when you're analysing the game, you've got to call them out when they make mistakes as well. Much like when McCartney makes mistakes and Hacks makes mistakes as well and whatever.
It's not just the shot stopping though. It's he's got no confidence in regards to coming out and collecting, or you know, people have said in the comments when he's coming out and sweeping, I've got no confidence in him making it. Or
that one yesterday scared me. When he came out, it was just.
He just seems he just seems like he doesn't really know what he's doing, and keepers can be bailed out by that, by reflexes and by saves where they make themselves big. You know, I'll give Jordan Pickford as an example, not because he's a bad keeper, but because he's got certain howlers in him where he makes rash decisions and stuff. But his shot stopping ability is great and his distribution is great, which makes up for it. Obviously, Phillips is nowhere near those levels, but those sort of moments where you want, you know, if that was 90th minute when they were, I mean, between when we scored and when they scored, there was about 3 balls into the box where you thought keeper needs to come out and catch this, and at any given point he didn't look like he knew where he was needed to be, or he didn't look like he knew where he was, and he was scampering across his goal line at any given point, and it just felt very much like we need someone to come and collect this and calm it down. And and Phillips isn't that guy for me.
Yeah. Very. Were you going to say something, Mick?
No.
Shelley has done the research. She says Crewe Alexandra hold the record for away run, 56 games without a victory for them. That was between December 1954 and April 1957. So it's two and a bit years. Thankfully, not that yet. I think we're on 13-9 league games, I think. But we're going to win next time at Shrewsbury anyway. But that's 3 weeks away. But I'm confident we'll get it done at some point. Other than the 2 goals, mate, obviously the game really did lack any sort of quality, but there were some big chances for everybody, really. They obviously had the chance in the first half, which they should be in the target. That's an absolutely shocking miss. Nombe has his chance as well, which deflecting was a pretty good reaction saved by the keeper. So it was a game not full of chances, but there were chances for each team. It shows that we are competing. These are a good team. We know these are a good team. It's good that we are able to compete. We didn't go there and nick this point, did we? It was a relatively even game, which is a good point to start from, probably.
Listen, you can't argue with a fully deserved point without a doubt. And arguably, you could argue that we probably should have been taking all 3. In terms, if you look at the small amount of quality that was on show, I felt was more from us than them. So yeah. Look, it's a decent point. You get a point away from them when you're home games, then you're going to be there or thereabouts at the end of the season, and we are improving. We are improving, and we just think we are starting to see the signs of a team coming together. So it's going to take a lot longer than we'd all wanted it to and anticipated. You would have hoped by now that we would have been up and running, but we're not up and running as of yet. But I think we will be. I'm seeing more of it now, which is great. Can I just say I thought that. Don't give me any grief for this. I thought Jamie McCart yesterday was absolutely excellent. He's had some grief. He's had some grief about some of the mistakes that he's made. But for me, yesterday he didn't put a foot wrong, in my view.
What about the chance? The chance that they missed? He was he not strong enough for that, or was it a foul? Was he barged into?
I think he was pulled down. I think he was pulled down from the back. So I don't have an issue with that. I think it was a foul, definitely. I thought it was really good yesterday, Jamie McCart. Really good.
Yeah, completely agree. Sam Tuck said it earlier there, saying Jamie McCart, best game in the Rotherham shirt. Tom Kays also said that in the comments. Kelly Phillips agrees as well. The defence looked better, Tom. We'll bring Joe Rafferty into that now. Joe Rafferty didn't do anything spectacular or great or anything else, but there was instant. You could see the balance between that back four was already better with having a natural right back there.
Yeah, it's mental what happens when you put a right back at right back, isn't it?
It is weird, isn't it? Really weird when you play people in the right position.
Yeah.
But I thought defensively, I know there's a chance we talked about, but I thought defensively we were pretty good against a good team at home, especially when the last 20 minutes they're gaining a bit of momentum. I thought we held firm pretty well, to be honest.
I think. Yeah, I agree. I think we were good. I think we were comfortable as well on the ball. I mean, I think they all showed a bit of technical nous and a bit of ability on the ball. I think the only criticism I had is that number 9 had his fun in the air. That first half, I don't think either centre backs won a header, which I think is an issue. If you're playing against a striker who's going to, play with knockdowns and whatnot. But on the floor, I think they cleaned everything up. I mean, in the air in second half, I mean, they were a lot better. I think credit where credit's due. Evans said in his post-match that at half-time he pulled them both aside and said they've got to do better in the air, which I think they did second half. They were a lot more aggressive, a lot more on the front foot. They're both not naturally stocky players or tall players, essentially, but I think you give them their fair share. They won their fair share in the air. But yeah, I completely agree with what people have said. That he was McCart was excellent, and I don't want to say that I'm like an oracle or anything, but for me to call him my breakout star of the season, I think is it's I think he's comfortable, right? I think he's a comfortable League One defender. He's got consistency issues, but on his day, and yesterday was arguably his day, he's a competent defender. Good on the ball, good in a tackle, good in the air, causes issues in their box as well as our box. He's left-footed, which is really, really underrated. But yeah, I think I think his lack of consistency and he's a bit prone to a mistake is what's going to cost him potentially a proper starting place when Raggett's fully fit. I can see it. Raggett's an Evans defender, wins everything in the air, puts himself about, etc. So, based on yesterday's performance, you dropped Humphreys, right? But I thought they were both excellent. So we'll see what we'll see what happens with McCart. But for him to be transfer listed now, I'd argue is unfair. I think he's done ups and downs so far this season, but his ups have been good. His downs have been, not so good, obviously. But there's definitely a defender there and a player there at this level, which has done us well with injury wise.
Just wash your mouth out, Tom, talking about dropping Cam. Not acceptable. That is not the kind of language I expect to hear on here.
I knew I'd get you.
Not having that, mate. Tell you now.
I knew I'd get you.
Talking to the post match, have you seen the League One News, the Twitter account? Have you seen it where he keeps clipping up things of Steve Evans?
Yeah,
he seems a bit obsessed.
Yeah.
However, it could be he or a she. It seems very, very obsessed. See, they've clipped the bit where Steve Evans mentioned about Nathan Jones. He's either nose is growing or his heads fell off again like last week. If we aren't the best team he's played this season, and I thought I quite for Steve Evans that was a funny line. League One News didn't like it. Bless him. Her. All them. Sorry. Let's not assume. But yeah, I enjoyed that. So keep an eye out for League One News.
Let's assume. Come on.
Let's assume. Keep an eye out for League One News because they are not going to like us this season. So it could be really, really funny this if they continue going away. But we'll see. I enjoyed it anyway.
Knock yourself out, lads.
You are?
I said knock yourself out, lads.
We talked about Malik Wilkes, Mick. I think we may as well mention him again. We sung his praises last week, I think, because he was brilliant. He was a bit of a step down in performance this week. I don't think he was awful or bad. He just couldn't seem to get a rhythm, it felt like to me. He got the ball a few times, but he couldn't just quite beat his man like he were doing last week, really.
No, he was disappointing yesterday, and he's still playing out of position, isn't he? Like he did last week, but he managed to make the best of it last week. Yesterday, I don't think he did. Saturday, I don't think he did. I was disappointed by his overall performance yesterday, but that's only because of what he did last week, and I'm sure he'll be back again. Players, if he could perform at the level he performed last week every week, he wouldn't be playing in this division. So it's that simple, isn't it? And if he maintains that sort of performance over the season from last week, more often than not, then he will be playing at a higher level. So he's just getting back into it. Yeah, disappointing yesterday. Didn't really influence the game the way that it has done. But then nobody did they? And I think that was probably the issue. Nobody really got the game by the scruff of the neck, and it was there for the taking. But you would argue, as the away team, you're not really looking to do that. You're looking to get at least a point out of the game, and once you're in that position, you're not going to try and take it by the scruff of the neck, are you? Certainly given the situation that the history that we've got playing away from home. So, anyway. Yeah.
How are you feeling about that front three, Tom? I thought Numby was the brighter of the three yesterday, but this seems to be the one that seems to be the way that Evans wants to play. Are you still happy and confident that something is building gradually?
It's so tough to say. I thought Clark Harris was pretty anonymous yesterday, and it wasn't through lack of trying. I'll give him that. He tried. He ran a lot. I don't think the service is quite right for him. He's all right at hold up play, but he's not going to score from hold up play. He's not gonna bring players in and set them up. And I know he assisted Kelly's goal, but a 5-yard pass isn't exactly. Anyway, I think we need to play to their strengths better. We're almost sort of putting it in an area and hoping that they sort of do something themselves. There's no real plan about whipping it in and getting it on Clark Harris's head or Nombe running the channels and this, that, and the other. It's playing to our front three strengths. And personally, for me, Wilkes is wasted in the middle. And I know that sounds bizarre because against Huddersfield, he was excellent. But if you play him on that right-hand side, the strength and the pace and the skill he's got for him to cut in and unleash something on that sledgehammer of a left foot, it just feels like inevitable if you play him on the right, and he'll do that every single time he takes on his. If you isolate him, he'll take on his man every single time, and he'll absolutely welly it. And most likely, we saw against Huddersfield, he cut in from the right, scored from the right, won a penalty on the left, on the wing when he isolated a player. If you put him in the middle, the amount of times he got the ball to feet, tried to turn first time and got tackled by Connor Coventry, who, I said it before to Mick, but I'd love to see back. I thought he man-marked Wilkes really well. He basically marked him out the game. But he played every time we played it to feet for Wilkes, he'd try and turn first time and it wouldn't. And twice it worked, and twice he was in, and twice he got shots off. So he's absolutely he's a player who can take on a man and he's got creativity in the final third. His crossing ability is great. He's right foot, left foot. I think he's wasted in the middle. I think if you play him out wide and isolate him, he's got the capabilities to destroy any fullback in this league. And it was a missed opportunity against a back three as well. He if we would have played with a front three against their back three, I know we would have had a bit less. I don't know. In fact, I don't think we would. I think bodies in midfield is fine. And you could have still played with the front three that he played with. Nombe out wide, which a bit of a waste, I guess. But if you just play with a bit more players in, I don't know. I think it's so tough because I think Nombe's been excellent, and you want to play, and I want to play him and Wilkes, and I think Hungbo not playing in the last 2 games has surprised me because he's got something that pre-season I thought he was going to be one of the best performers this season, and still think he could get up there. And with Green returning, we just look like we might fit a 3 better up front. But that means dropping Clark Harris or Nombe, and Evans is never going to drop Clark Harris. So I hate to say it, but I'd love to see a game with Hungbo, Clark Harris, and Wilkes. And that's not to say that Nombe's been bad or any of this, that, and the other. I'd love to see Nombe through the middle, in all honesty. But if Evans is never gonna do that. But if we were to play 3 in midfield and 3 up front, I'd wonder about how it works. I think Evans has been put off from that Fleetwood game, but the personnel wasn't right for that Fleetwood game. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, you can change it back, right? But I just think we have so much quality in the wide areas that we're trying to play too centrally. If you can get James, Powell, and Hungbo as a partnership, and same on the other side with Adofin, Wilkes, and Rafferty, you can get some really nice play going, and balls into the box will be aplenty. And Clark Harris doesn't need to move; he can just stay in that central area. And it's got to be said as well that Hugo's giving himself more and more of a shot every game. When he came on, I thought he absolutely terrorized their back three somehow. He was excellent. He was really good. I like Hugo off the bench, fired up, and trying to get a place in the team. He just seems a lot more up for it. I think we've got 3 top-end League One strikers, and I think the way that the team should be set out is with one of them, and it's it's so tough. I wouldn't want to be the one making the calls. But those are the sort of calls I think we need to make. Because I'd love to see Hungbo introduced to this. I'd just love to see Hungbo and Wilkes wide and see what happens. I think them two, if you isolate their defenders, would just would run riot.
Yeah, I agree. I'll come back to you on strikers in a minute, Mick. I just want to quickly tick off the Powell penalty claim, which I think Evans might have got booked for.
Yeah, he did.
First of all, do you remember it?
No, remind me.
It's the one where the ball comes across from the right and Powell's trying to come to it and the defenders just kind of backed into Powell a little bit.
I mean, no, I'm not even remembering that, so it can't have been that much of a penalty shout, can it? Let's be fair.
Do you remember it, Tom?
Yeah, it wasn't. I think it's a mix of Powell trying to get in front of his man and going for sort of diving header, and it's just clever play from the defender as well. I don't think it is a penalty. He sort of stepped across him.
Oh, I do remember now.
Powell's tried to get in front of him and dive in header. If that was given, that would be soft.
Very soft, yeah. I think it's one of those that if that was in the middle of the pitch, I've seen those given if in the middle of the pitch. But the bar for a penalty, as we've said before, the bar for a penalty has got to be so much higher. That shouldn't. I think the referee got that decision right. Now you remember it, Mick?
I do remember it. Yeah, it wasn't a penalty. There's no way it was a penalty, and had it been outside the box, it still wouldn't have been a foul in my opinion. Although it would probably have been given. No, just it was just being stronger, wasn't it? I remember their shout for the handball against Adolphin, which was just ridiculous. Let me say again, I thought the referee had an excellent game. Really good game. He let it flow. He didn't give stupid, niggly little fouls. He just got on with the game. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Anyway, I think we've said that more this season than we did in the entirety of last season, to be honest.
Absolutely. In the entirety of the last two seasons, quite frankly.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Tom K says Evans thought he got booked for a late tackle on Kelly, which you might be right, actually. Yeah. Possibly. I think. Do we think he's on 2 bookings for the season now, Evans?
Already?
I don't know. I think he's on 2. If for managers, if after a 3rd yellow, it's a touchline ban, unless Matt Taylor found out.
If you work it out, how many games have we had? He got a ban after the first game, so that don't count. We've only had 3 games, so it must have been at least 2 bookings.
Did he get booked at Wickham?
I've no idea.
Can't remember. I seem to remember he got booked somewhere on one of the away games. So I think he's on 2 yellow cards. Again, unless the rules have changed. You are?
I think you might be thinking about one of the pre-season friendlies that he got booked in.
Oh, I might be actually. Yeah, we booked at Grimsby.
Yeah, he did get booked in Stafford or Stamford, whatever it was.
Yeah. If anybody remembers a second one, let us know. He's on at least one because he got booked on Saturday, obviously. John Morrell, I'd book him for not being able to sit on the bench. Matt the Miller says the referee had a much better game than the awful Sky commentator. The length he went on about the possible Adolphin handball.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? He did. He was desperate to find a different angle to prove that he got it right, and he was so clearly got it wrong.
Weird. Right, so let's go back to the striker situation, Mick. Josh Caswell says Joshua Clark-Harris is playing a role he shouldn't play. Goofball doesn't suit him. And Harry, with I think my comment on the night so far, I can't believe I'm writing this, but I thought Hugo did more in 15 minutes than Joshua Clark-Harris did all day.
Yeah.
And Tom's right again, Mick, that I thought he was good, Hugo. And if all's fair, if you play in that system, Hugo should be starting next week. I thought in every game he's played, other than the Exeter game where I thought it was garbage, Hugo's done pretty well in every other game that he's played so far. He has earned to start for me.
Yeah. But history tells you that as soon as he gets that start, we're back to plan A, won't we?
Yeah.
We will revert to plan B when we're on bench so we can try and get his place back. We get his place back and it's back to plan A. There's something not right with Johnson Clark-Harris. I'm sure we've said this many times, I think, already this season. It just doesn't feel right. I'm not sure I mentioned it in the comments earlier on about his mobility. It's just not there. And I look, he's an absolute unit. And because of the size of him, his mobility is not going to be Nombe type mobility. We accept that, you understand that, but I don't know. He just feels like he doesn't feel like he's fully fit to me. Maybe that's how he is. I don't know. Maybe that's just kind of how he is because of his size. If that's the case, then he's the one that should be coming off the bench. You know, to make that impact. But arguably at League One, he's kind of the big name player, isn't he? I suppose. Yeah. Although we talk about Jordan Hugill, ex-Premier League, so Hugill also is at this level, arguably a big name player. But I think people are right. You know, people have said that when Hugill's come on, he's caused problems, and he has. I just wonder whether, if you start him, is he going to have that same level? Is he going to be playing at that same level? I don't know. Possibly. Don't know. It's a toughie, but I don't think you can look. It's that specific position where the issue is. I don't think anybody should be looking at Sam Nombe or whoever else plays, whether it be Humbo or Wilkes or whoever else plays in that other one of the three, if that's the way he's going to play it. It's that position, that central position that needs the attention. So, but yeah, he's not fit. I'm not convinced he's fit at all.
I hope he's not fit, because if that's a fully fit Johnson Clark-Harris,
it's not great.
So Juice said, I think someone has had a word with Hugill. Josh Castle mentioned that he thinks that Hugill won the most amount of aerial duels for his last season. That's always been the frustrating thing with Hugill. He's really, really good in the air. Really, really good in the air. He just often chooses not to use that skill.
Yeah.
Kenneth Bob, he doesn't look fit. This is a reference to Clark-Harris. Having said that, Steve Evans says he won't play players that are only 80% fit. That's true. That is true. But then he did play him when he weren't fit at the start of the season. When Evans admitted that he wasn't fit, he wasn't 100% fit. He started him on open data season, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And the other thing I would say about Clark-Harris, and Steve mentioned this here in his comment, he is contributing. He definitely is contributing. You know that he's coming short and he's he's holding the ball up and he's bringing players into the game a little bit, which is Hugill doesn't tend to do that. You know, he may hold the ball up, but then he won't play that easy ball, which Clark-Harris is doing. Some of his flick-ons are pretty decent. I'm far more confident if I see Hugill going for one of the goofballs. Clark-Harris going for one of these goofballs, that it's going to find one of our players than I ever have been with any other centre forward, quite honestly, because he does seem to be pretty decent at that. But that's not what he's here for. He's there to put the ball in the back of the net, and arguably we're not giving him those chances or the ones that he likes. So it's a difficult one, but I still think he's not fit.
But that's the concern with Clark-Harris, Tom, is that if he was missing chances, it's kind of fine because he is a striker. He's got the goals in him. We know that he can score the goals, and it would come. But he hasn't looked like scoring. He's not putting himself into danger. Now this might be us. This might be the team that isn't helping him.
Yes.
But Johnson Clark-Harris does not look like scoring yet this season, and that's a concern because that's what he's there for. It sounds harsh, but Nombe does other things. Wilkes does other things. Hugill does other things. We need Clark-Harris to be scoring, and I don't know. I just think he's lacking. I haven't come away from a game this season thinking, oh, Clark-Harris could have had a couple here, other than the penalty, obviously.
I see. Yeah, I do get what you mean. I think, I'll be honest, I think Nombe and Hugill are offering more than him at the minute. I agree with that statement. But to say that I just think it's tough because we are clearly not playing to his strengths. And if he's flicking the ball on, he's not in the box to finish it, so he doesn't look like he's scoring. I mean, against Huddersfield, I thought he was good. I thought he should have scored. Well, other than barring a really good save. The penalty was dispatched really well. It just feels like he's not fit, and therefore Evans is a hypocrite because if he's not fit, he can't play, and because he's not 100%, and then you're just going down a spiral of, you know, if you're saying that players aren't going to play if they're not 100% fit, then why is Clark-Harris playing? Because he doesn't look fit, and that could be just a case of he's not playing well. It's just, I just think if you want to get the best out of Clark Harris, you have to mold the entire team around him, and we can do that. But then you drop Nombe, you drop Hugill, you drop you move Wilkes out wide, you bring in another winger, and you have to mold the team around Clark Harris. And if you do that, you have to be sure that he's going to score. And right now, I'm not entirely sure if we did mold the team around him, he would score. I could be wrong, and he could absolutely destroy teams if we play wingers and we get the ball into him in the box early and headers. He still wins headers in the box, and when he's in the box, he looks dangerous. It's just, you have to, on the 5th or 6th league game of the season, change and mold the entire team around him and drop 2 top strikers to make sure he gets the service he needs. Is that a risk that Evans is going to take? Probably not. And in that case, you have to mold the team around who put in the best players in the best positions. And in this case, on current form and how we want to play, Clark Harris doesn't quite fit into that. And it's weird to say, right? Because I think there's a proper player in there. I think there's a proper finisher there, and a player who could get 30 goals this season. Maybe not 30, 20, 25 goals this season. And I still think that could be possible in the system that we're playing. But you run the risk of Nombe and Clark Harris are both biting against each other, and sort of, are they setting each other up? Are they going solo? There's a couple times in that second half where I thought Nombe should have got a shot off just to test the keeper, didn't. And then if he didn't do that, he looked like he should have teed Clark Harris up, didn't do that. It sort of looks like there's no cohesiveness between them both. It just frustrates me that we play with, I don't know. I just don't think that this is the best system for us. 3 in midfield is fine, and I'd play that three midfield no matter what. Powell, Kelly, Odoffin. I'd bring Teehee in depending on fitness and type of game and whatnot. You know, I think he's got some hate in the past, but I think he's an excellent player. He looks a bit sluggish, but against Huddersfield, but that was probably down to injury as he wasn't in the squad yesterday. But that front three can stay the same front three, but we need more width with it. If you look at how narrow we were, it's not like Powell and James and Hacks and Rafferty are giving us that width. They're really not. James tries to, but if you try and isolate a defender one-on-one, all James is going to do is cross the ball in. And if, they're not good crosses. It's tough. I honestly, against Burton, no disrespect to Burton, I'd try something different. And I'd go 3 up front and I'd go 2 wide men. But, with Andre Green returning as well, I'd do it sooner rather than later because he's excellent out wide as well. He's exactly his type of player that will get crosses in the box, will beat a man. If we have 3 wingers in Hungbo, Wilkes and Green, I mean, arguably, name me 3 better wingers, and I don't think you could in League One. So for 3 of them to not play together in itself is quite impressive, because it already proves that you've got 3 excellent players. But if we go the way that we're going now, you'll be lucky to be playing one of them. So it's tough. We've got so many attacking options that we're not quite finding the right balance yet. I'd give a game where you put Clark Harris through the middle and you put 2 wingers out wide and you see what he does. And if he doesn't perform how you think he does, I'd put Nombe through the middle. And then you've got 3 of the quickest players in the league up front as well, which can cause all kinds of mayhem. So it's tough. It's really, really tough. It's like a game of Football Manager or FIFA where you just do that for one game. And it's really not like that.
Absolutely. Just kind of say we played 4-3-3 with Taylor, and at times we played our best football, especially the Blackburn one. Blackburn result of 4-0,
Yeah, Gio wide and Fosu wide was, it was good. I thought we were, that those were some of the. I think 4-3-3 is the new 4-4-2. It's a sort of standard.
Yeah.
You got your wingers, you got your striker, you overload the midfield. I think it's a go-to formation now, and we've got the players for it. I'd give it a go. I think Hacks gets up enough to be a second striker and back enough to be a defensive midfielder. I'd give it a go.
Yeah, I agree. Mick Hacks missed a couple of chances again on Saturday. Are we concerned that? Are we concerned with that all, or are we say are we going back to what I said? Clark isn't happening. Hacks is getting in the positions, and it'll click eventually. That's how I see it.
It will. And don't forget, we're signed with the right back, so you're sort of in positions where you're putting in positions where is an alien to him. He's used to keeping them out rather than putting them in. So it'll come. He scores goals. Hakeem Adofin scores goals. And you put him in the right. He gets in the right place often enough. He will score your goals, and he will.
Yeah, I agree. Matt Miller says he feels a modicum of sympathy for Steve Evans even when he goes home on a night and says, "Evening, dear." He gets a yellow card, rightly so as well. Fisherman Sid says Steve Evans, Red and White Army. He's proving the doubters wrong. Fisherman Sid says he is the man. Shelley asks, I'll ask sort of game-related question. Shelley asks, Zach Jules doesn't seem to get anywhere near the squad at the minute. Has him and Steve Evans had a disagreement? Yeah, we mentioned this the other day, Tom, that it's a bit weird that the Zach Jules situation seems a bit odd, really. Or do we just think when he's asking the presser about injured players, Zach Jules name never comes up. So from that, I take that there is no fitness issue. He is just not selected, which is interesting because he bigged him up big time in the summer when we signed him.
Yeah, and maybe he's not fully fit, and that's completely fair. There's a difference between being fit and being match fit. It's weird he's not played in the cup. Played one game.
Played the Mansfield one, didn't
he? Yeah, and played all right for all intents and purposes. I don't know. Yeah, it's a strange one. He looks a unit, which is something that we could potentially need. Left-footed. Yeah, I mean, it's probably a case of that he was McCart, and then McCart's come on and played well when needed to play well, and Evans is rewarding that. Maybe he's just, needs to bide his time and wait for an opportunity to get a bit of game time. I don't think there's any bad blood or anything if people are suggesting that, because it's been a week. It's been like 2 weeks since he got back from injury. What worries me more than anything was that if you looked at that bench on Saturday, there was one defender on it, and it was Bramall. And I've made it quite clear that he's hardly a defender. So if any of that back four did get injured, you're asking Hacks to cover the entire back four.
Yeah.
And maybe that's Evans's plan, is that, if McCart did get injured, he put Hacks at centre-back. If Rafferty had to come off, he'd put Hacks at right-back and all this, that and the other. But then you look at the bench and you got McWilliams on it, and he's still yet to impress me. So
Mick said that yesterday.
Yeah. But that defence worries me in regards to its depth, because to have Jules fit and not put him on the bench feels to me like he doesn't trust him. Either he doesn't trust him physically and doesn't think he's quite there match fitness wise, or he doesn't trust him as a player. And in both regards, it's quite worrying because we don't have any cover.
No, we don't.
Braggett's still a way off. If Rafferty didn't play yesterday, we would have been, one of the better words, screwed, because Hacks comes in at right back, and then you're starting with McWilliams, and you're starting with McWilliams in the 5th game of the season. And, maybe he can do a job last 10 minutes, run around, put himself about, but to start him, I don't think he's quite there. So I think you're already struggling for cover, and for him, Evans, to come out and say that we still don't need players is worries me a little bit, because all it takes is a bad injury to Rafferty and he's out for 3 months, and then you've only got Hacks to play right back, and then if he gets injured, you've got McDonald. And you know what? McDonald, when he came on, played all right. I know he was a scrapper and he put himself about. He ran a lot. He looked more comfortable in an attacking sense, which goes to show even more that he's not a defender. It's it's an absolute farce that he plays right back. He is a decent player, but he's not a right back. No. So it worries me a little bit that if we did get some unfortunate injuries to certain personnel, you're already struggling, and we're 4 league games in. So I don't know. It's we've still got 2 loans that we can bring in that don't affect the squad. I believe if they're under 21,
21 or 22, I can't remember, but yeah.
So but you've got 2. Argument's sake, you go out and get 2 players from Southampton or something like that, just to come in at right back, centre back, even left back, if you need them to. I know they're young lads, but it's better than playing players out of position. And you've still got the free agents market to dip into. We've still got another place available. I'd seriously consider bringing in more depth to that back line, because at the minute it's looking ropey. But it's tough. It's tough at the minute, because although it's looking like we're getting better and we're gelling, it takes one injury and that all can go quite badly quite quickly, as we saw in the last couple of seasons. I know we didn't gel quite well in the last couple of seasons, but injuries didn't help us in any sense.
No, we're in a surprisingly really, really, really good place with injuries. Basically, nobody's injured.
Why are you saying that?
Well, one point is
wrong with you, man?
The point is that's never going to last, is it? That's never ever going to last.
What? Honestly, I mean, come on. Are you just trying to make something for us to talk about? For us to talk about.
I don't rely on you to have a good Steve Evans for that, but
why don't you just name some players who you want to be injured?
Tom said a minute ago. Don't blame me.
I just said it takes one bad injury and that's it. I think everything goes kaput.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder on Jules. I wonder if he signed him to play as a 3, like we played on the opening day of the season. And
I wouldn't be surprised if we did that.
Yeah, and now we're not playing 3. Maybe don't like him in a 4, possibly. But then he played in the cup game as in the 4. The Joshua Caswell backline reminds me of Jenga Tower. One piece falls and we're screwed. Harry, breaking news: 22 Rotherham players injured.
Yeah.
At least now we don't have to blame it on the training ground. We can blame it on you.
That's true. Yeah. There you go. But Steve, I've given you your excuse. He had another dig at previous management and recruitment, didn't he? Again in his post-match about playing people who aren't fully fit. That's what we've done for the last 2 years, and we won't be doing that anymore, kind of thing.
Apart from Johnson Clark Harris, obviously, and he can play.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. There we go. Finish. I will leave you a prediction update, because I'm sure Tom will want to fight his corner. But Mick and Danny both predicted 1-1, so they both have 3 points. I'll do a league table for the next episode. I think that will put Mick top, but I will have to double check.
Obviously, because we're outside.
Tom, Tom, would you like to explain to everybody your grievance?
Well, I understand completely if I don't get these points.
Well, you're not ready, so I'm glad you understand, mate.
I said 1-1, and then I changed it. Well, I changed it. I sort of said...
No, you changed it.
Well, yeah, I changed it. I said, because I'm going, it's going to be a first away win. So I said my head says 1-1, but my heart says 2-1 Rotherham. So my actual prediction was 2-1. So that gets me nothing. Whereas if I went with what I actually thought, I'd have 3. So, if anyone can come up with a bit of a consolation prize, I'd happily accept.
Yeah, I love that it's getting competitive already. This league.
It's only because I'm top, and I know I'm not going to stay there. So
you were top.
Well, if I got 2 in a row, that's pretty. Come on,
it would have been very good. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This podcast.
So who is to blame for this stupidity, Tom?
Steve Evans. I don't know.
There we go. I should do a league table for Thursday, and we'll see where everybody is on that one. Anything else we need to mention, fellas?
Dolphins have just won. I'm happy with that. Happy days. Field goal last few seconds. So that's a season. Happy.
I'm really happy that you've been paying attention to this podcast really in depth.
I've not been watching it at all, and I think I'm pretty sure I've got away with it. I don't think anybody at all noticed. I've been looking away.
You do have it in your eye, in your glasses. You have the reflection. You have it in your reflection.
No, it's terrible, isn't it? All that's reflecting is the screen. It's not American football.
But your screen in your glasses, it's green.
American football's over there.
No, it's green in your glasses, though.
Yeah.
I know it is. Yeah. Well, I can tell you now. Anyway, whatever.
Josh Castle saying Chio played well for Ireland, not well enough.
That's so brutal. That was unnecessary.
Yeah, it was. I enjoyed it. But yeah, nice to see England are getting something to talk about other than football again. I enjoy finding something else to criticise your national team about other than football. Classic England.
Unbelievable, Jeff.
But yeah. Right. Let's go from there. Let's leave it there, sorry. Thank you, everybody who has participated in the comments and watched us and listened to us. We will be back on Thursday. This will be a preview of the next game, which is Burton Albion at home. We'll see what we can do about getting a scouting report. That was a problem last time we played them. But we'll see what we can do to try and find a Burton fan to do a scouting report for us. Make sure you've subscribed if you haven't done so on YouTube. The numbers are creeping up. Subscribers are gradually creeping up on there. So make sure you've subscribed. Give the video a like as well. If you're watching on YouTube as well, give it a thumbs up. That helps us. If you're watching over on X, make sure you have followed us on X. Give the video a share as well, because that'd be nice. And also get over on YouTube and subscribe on there to get the other stuff that is only available on YouTube. If you are listening on iTunes and Spotify, make sure you have subscribed or followed us wherever it allows you to do so. Give us a 5-star rating, and if you want to, after the 5-star rating, type in why you think it was a 5. Well, you gave it a 5-star rating. It's been a long weekend. There we go. Thank you, everybody. We will see you all next time. Thank you, Mick. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, everybody else. Up the Millers. We'll see you next time.
Up the Millers.
I think I always made the comment that once a Miller, always a Miller.
Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! Good Evans, he's done it again. Another promotion for the big man.
I've got 12 bottles of champagne in my office, and we're going to drink them all night.
Do me a favor, drop me off.